Hey, Printers, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Bruce from Printavo. We've got Mr. Stephen Farrig out of Campus Ink. Really cool episode. Again today, the controversial M&R versus Rock videos. We've got the man on the show today. But real quick, we've got some special sponsors I actually want to tell you guys about. Farrig, you want to kick this off?
Yeah, let's kick it off. So Supacolor. Supacolor is the world's best heat transfer. Supacolor is made using both digital and screen printing techniques. Bruce and I got a tour of their facility. It's something else. It's like they're making Teslas in there or something. Why? Their digital process prints brilliant colors that make graphics pop. Backed up with screen printed white ink that gives amazing stretch and durability, second to none. We use Supacolor in our shop every single day. They are super fast, super easy. And Rum and the team over there are absolutely crushing it. Thanks, Supacolor. If you'd like to experience them yourself, use promo code PRINTAVO15 and get 15% off.
Graphics Source. If you need a solution to improve art efficiency and reduce costs in that department, Graphics Source is the team that you want to use. It's really cool. If you use Printavo, if you don't use Printavo, they'll plug right into your art process, and they help you with separations, mock-ups, creative, order management, digitizing, and they have awesome customer service too. So you actually chat with your artist, and it's really consistent. I know you use them a lot, Farrig.
We use them, and Nick and Rob actually came to visit our team last week, stopped in the shop, and Rob's got some cool skills. He can call out any Pantone if you point at it. So that was pretty cool. Thanks, Graphics. You can use 50% off your first vector, separation, or embroidery order. Just mention the Printavo podcast. Thanks, guys. Easy Way. You shouldn't spend all day cleaning dirty screens. Easy Way's line of environmentally conscious chemicals will get the job done faster, more efficiently, and will cost you a fraction of the cost per screen. Alex and the team at Easy Way have been awesome to work with. We personally use 842, 701 in our shop. Easy Way is truly the easiest way. Bruce, have you heard of Multicraft Daddy?
Who's that?
Well, why don't you tell us?
If you need ink, supplies, or Daddy, Multicraft screen printing and digital supplies for over 50 years, I've been providing you with awesomely top brands at competitive prices. Make sure to mention Printavo Podcast because you'll get 10% off your first order. That's Multicraft_Daddy on Instagram. If he gets to, how many followers does he have now?
I think he's at 396 as of this morning. Let's get him over 400.
What will he do if he gets over 400?
400 is like 4 more followers. He's going to get that like tomorrow. But we want to see him.
He'll shave his head. Dave will shave his head.
I don't know if I want to see that.
All right, guys, let's get back to the episode.
Can we admire Sam's studio setup real quick?
Hey,
it is legit.
Are we looking at the same thing? Sam, that's amazing. Do you record YouTube videos and stuff? I mean, obviously you're here because of what you did, but do you record other stuff?
A little bit. I just have a really good team, so they're super talented. They're the best.
Did they decorate the studio for you?
This is my office, so they just kind of like just brought in lighting and made it look cool. So.
Bruce is always working on his podcast setup, so I'm sure there's
I've given up. I mean, look, I'm holding it now. Nothing's in the walls. Total gut job. No, we're just moving a little. We're moving next week, so
yeah.
Bruce, the tripod got packed away.
Well, I was like, okay, so my wife has this graduation this weekend, and I don't have much time to pack. Like, it's Sunday, and the movers come Tuesday, so. It's like, all right, everything must go unless I must absolutely have it, which this, and we use this thing called Camo, which is good for webcams. Yeah. It's like basically your phone. But you got a legit one. So wait, what? Sorry, real quick. How much was the mic that you're using?
These Roadcasters are cheap. Did I freeze up on y'all?
Yeah.
It changed to Imaging Edge webcam.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Battery died on the Sony, I think.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Back to the webcam?
Back to the webcam.
Yeah, so you take the photo of the proof, but with a super nice version. So I'm assuming just customers it makes them, you guys look pretty professional.
With the photo proofs?
Yeah.
It's more or less just to get them to approve it faster. So we were doing phones for the longest time, just iPhones. But iPhones do a lot of color correction. So it's kind of hard. If something's like a gray, it'll brighten it up and almost look white and things like that. So the team figured out how to do it with the Sonys, and it's coming out a lot more true.
Sam, does that mean the presses stop until the sample's approved?
Well, we're 9 autos here. So
Holy
we're
cow.
9 autos. We run about 5 teams, and one team is a registration team. So sometimes it's stopped waiting. Sometimes the team's just registering the next job. But yeah, it's about 15 minutes.
So we've got a lot to dive into, but you said you have 9 autos, 5 teams. Does that mean you have 5 presses running at once and people are moving around to different, the next press is getting set up for the next team?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We pivot a lot and we try different things. We're always exploring. So me and Alejandro, my shop manager, we're always exploring what we can do to speed up our production. The registration team is something that's working right now because my current staff is really nice with each other. Often when you have a registration team, the new operator, right, that's jumping on the press that's already registered will be like, oh, he didn't register the way I want it registered. And then we get that conflict in there and they won't just start running. They'll they'll index it 5 times and then they'll run, what's the point of registering, ahead if they're not just jumping on press and running.
So there's a trust thing there.
Yeah, it's a funny situation, but the teams right now, we're working really well together. And
Sam, does that mean at any given time there are only 5 presses running?
Yes.
Gotcha. So
Yes.
basically those 4 extra presses are, to be in front or behind the next job and the next job. So a team might shuffle to different presses.
Yes. Teams
Wow.
are often shuffling to presses. So
Cool.
That's how we're currently running. Not every customer is a photo approval, but it's definitely something that's more common than uncommon.
So we wanted to have you on because recently
Stirring up the pot.
You've stirred up the pot. It looks like Anchor is being a shit stirrer.
Actually, you're in such a unique position. So every time somebody asks on Facebook groups, hey, which press is better? I'm looking at buying something. And, you get this huge, diverse answer pool. My thing is, though, most shops have probably only owned one brand forever. And the rest is from secondhand information or maybe another shop that they potentially worked at. But there's such a wide, diverse background group that could, create your perspective. Your shop has both brands, and you've been recording and documenting this journey, of which I'll send this link so Luke can put in the description. I mean, you've been recording everything from which produces better quality. You did a speed competition, which flash is better, conveyor dryers, which is easier to use. I mean, this is the ultimate Tom's buyer's guide, How did this all come to how did this get set up?
I don't know. It's kind
Who's
of
paying you more?
No one's paying me. I literally we have 9 machines, like I said earlier, and we have 5 M&Rs and 4 rocks. So, and the machines we focus on in actually the YouTube channel is the brand new. So I have brand new 2021 Cobras, and then my Gauntlet 3, which is a 2020 Gauntlet 3. So they're brand new. And then my rocks are all the next machines, and they're brand new. I got them in 2021 as well. So we're comparing new machines to new machines, which is nice. Still both under the warranty. My other 3 machines are older. They're used. So I don't really want to talk about those because that's I feel like it's not fair. So I just, I don't know. It came about just I have a night shift manager and a day shift manager. Day shift manager, we've been in M&R shop for 10 years, over 10 years. And my night shift manager worked at Liquid and just swore by rocks. He says, if we get rocks, we will produce faster. So he like swore by it to the point where like he was willing to bet me, 3 months of his pay. And I was like, okay, if a guy like this is willing to bet that, I'm willing to try it. So he convinced me more than anything to try the rocks, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And then I built a pod, because if you're gonna do it, you have to build a pod to really know. So that's 3 machines on a dryer. So
what motivated you? Okay, so one of your night shift managers said, "Hey, let's get these." You're like, "Okay, why not?" What motivated you to then start making videos about it and really like?
I think it's just fun. We have a creative team here, and they're a bunch of guys. Obviously, we were talking in the beginning. We're fun. We like to mess around with stuff, and just the idea said, let's battle them out. And also, I started off. My first machine was an Anatol, and it was really hard when I first started to get people here in Southern California that knew how to work that machine. So it wasn't like a bad machine. I just getting staff. So I went through a lot of headaches with equipment, and then I was like purely M&R. I wanted a place that was safe where people can find stuff out. Because if you go to a trade show, it's like everyone's drinking each other's Kool-Aid. There's like the raw rocks
Totally.
and then the raw M&Rs. Yeah. And it's like, everyone, like you said, everyone has opinions. I've had a lot of mentors in the print industry, and everyone has like this, they say that. They say, rocks are too thin of metal. They're all going to break. M&R is real steel. And there's all these things. But I felt like until I could see it on a floor and it is in production, that's how you know. And then you also know through longevity in years, right? So I'm hoping that through the channel, I can get at least 3 years of this to really know how it's going. Because equipment, it's not something, I sold, before I bought these rocks, we sold some M&Rs, and they were from like 1999. Some G2s from 1999 that still produced, 8 to 10,000 shirts a day, like nothing. So M&Rs have that longevity of a machine from 1999 still cranking. And even when I resold it, it still had value to it, which is insane to think about. I don't know how the rock's going to go, but I would want to find out, and I would want someone to actually be transparent about it. That's not just, emotionally connected, to a piece of machinery.
So when you dropped your first video, the floodgates opened. I mean, there were people from M&R commenting on it, people wanting a rematch. Like, what happened after you posted the video? Did you get hit up from Rock and M&R being like, "This is awesome," or "F you"? Like, what? How did that work?
Well, to be honest, I kind of got, if I'm honest, scared because there was actual reaction on it. Like, I just did this, we filmed most of these videos in November, and then we finally just posted them. And I haven't even read the comments. Like, I stayed away. I haven't been on it in a minute. I need to probably go over there and comment, but I'm just trying to focus on the business. But yeah, I kind of strayed away just because I was like, I don't want too much drama of it, and I also don't want the comments to change my opinion of what I'm trying to share. Like, so yeah, I have talked to a couple people from M&R, like with the Flash video. M&R had a tech out here like within about a week after the Flash video.
That's a way to get someone's attention.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool of them to do that. It was kind of a bummer because I asked for a long time, but that's what it took. But it was cool. They came out, they showed us some of the things, like they gave us maintenance tips that I guess we weren't doing, which was nice. But then also there's still some issues with like the sensors in those, because he went through about 2 of them, and one of them was like it was dirty, filled with dust, and then the other one was clean, but the sensor was still out. So. Things like that. So I mean, M&R did that. Rock, I haven't really talked to anyone too much. We'll be going to Portugal next week to go out to the factory. Yeah, so I'll be out there. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm not trying to drink anyone's Kool-Aid, I guess. Like,
I mean,
I'm just.
It's pretty cool. You're running like a split ship. Does your team enjoy the camaraderie around it? Like.
Yeah, how do you
Do you have
train, or how does that work?
Yeah, how does that work?
I'm very fortunate because most of my staff has been with me a long time. Training on the rocks took some time, but not too much. I mean, most of these operators that I have been printing for 15 years or more. So like, this is what they know. So a couple of my operators,
They've been printing for you for 15 years, or?
So they've been printing. I've been printing for about 14 years. Some of my employees have been with me that long, but they just been printing. Southern California, there's a lot of print shops here. I purchased a company also in 2018, and some of the staff was part of that company, and they were there for 30 years in that building, same building. So I inherited some of that staff, and they've been here a long time. But they picked up the rock pretty fast. They were all, I mean, everyone, when we got the rocks in here, they're just talking trash. All the staff was just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so bad. Now they all like them. They're very happy with the rocks. A couple of my operators are a little bit more heavy set, so they love the rocks because they can actually get in between them to register. Where on the G3, it's very, with the arm bars, it's very tight. If you got a belly, you're gonna have to like squeeze through. So a couple of our employees love that, but I mean, there's little things like that.
So give us a little background about your shop. I mean, you run 9 autos, you run a pretty big operation. You've only been in the business for 14 years. I mean, or maybe that's a long time. Tell us about your business a little bit.
Wholesale printing, man. I started off like every other printer in a band, and then we ended up doing merch, and then started doing merch, and just I lost a company when I was 25, went into a lot of debt, and through that paid back my debts, built myself out of that, and
A shop or
just
something else? Totally
a
different.
shop.
What was the like the lesson there, or like, or where did it go wrong?
You know, arrogance. When you're young, I was 25, and you know, I started a print shop that started to do well quickly, and you could think you're so good at what you do, or you know a lot of stuff, and I just think I felt I got really arrogant. So, you know, getting in bad debt, not doing things that made sense, you know, so I got humbled, and it was the greatest moment of my life, losing everything, and then restructuring everything. And I guess when I reopened the shop, I came in to just really appreciating everything and loving my staff. I really care about my people. So we're very, like, for me, employee focused on just improving everyone's life. I look at it more like an ecosystem rather than what can I get out of this? So it's like, okay, what can I participate in this ecosystem that works? Because everyone has extreme value. Someone that's just catching shirts on the end of a dryer might be making $1 of a minimum wage or whatever. That's extreme value. Without that, there's no shop. There's no company. So just going into those things and just appreciating people in that way has really just brought a lot of life to me, where I'm like actually happy to be at work and see these people and participate with them and be part of their ecosystem where we're actually providing for our families, right? So I guess I used to get upset when I was younger, like if someone was lazy, right? I'm like, oh, they're stealing from you. They're on their phone, not working, all this thing. And then I started to look at it in a different perspective. Well, not saying it's right to be lazy or anything like that, but they're actually providing for their family. And if I can come at it not with like, oh man, you're being lazy, but like, hey, how do we encourage you and motivate you, right? Or inspire you? You can't teach an employee to care. And if they don't care, they need to go. But you can hopefully inspire people to join the team and try to participate in some way. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of been the heart of the new company, and that's what carried me to where I am.
How long have you been in the new company?
Since 2016.
Okay.
And you bought, so you closed a previous one, you know, kind of got things together, paid off debt, and then bought a new shop to get this started.
I started a new shop. I started in 2016 just with one 6-color 1997 Gauntlet revolver.
Wow.
I bought that thing used for like $2,000. It was broken, had to fix it. And then I started my shop. I was still in debt. I was about $250,000 in debt when I lost my first company. So I was trying to undig myself. I used to talk to you, Bruce, back in the day.
I remember.
With, like OG.
I have to find
OG, but that was like my first company. emails on that?
Yeah, because when I started seeing the videos, then I was like, wait a second, it sounds very familiar.
It was when you had like maybe 100 shops, if that. You
Yeah.
had like nothing.
I'll have to look at what account number you are. Okay, so sorry, I gotta jump back to these videos for a second because, like, what do you feel like you've learned so far from this? Is there any immediate takeaways, or, because I think the first thing I think about is there a clear winner? If not, are they pretty close? It's just more of it's like a preference thing, or where are we at? By the way, account number 372. Maybe early there than Steven. Hold on.
Probably. I was 2015.
2400 Farrig.
2400. Oh my gosh.
I was still in high school. Okay, give me a break.
Yeah, I remember talking to Bruce on the phone, and he's like, "Yeah, like I did printing like in a garage or something, but I do software and now I developed this." I kept on trying to get you to do like the tasks, and I remember we sent you like screenshots and a couple other things, but it was cool. You were always a super nice guy.
He's okay. Don't let it get to his head.
Yeah, he was always a super nice guy.
No, I remember because I remember going back to, and this was maybe a couple of years, but you guys were looking at like just other solutions, Impress and some others. I have to pull up some of the older emails from there. Yeah, I mean, well, because you said, all right, so then maybe we'll break it down from there, right? Because I watched almost all of them so far, and so I wanted to give some highlights to different characteristics. But from a high level, did you feel there was a winner?
So you can't make an assumption yet. It's too early. So you got to think. My last M&Rs that I sold before I got these rocks were 1999s. 1999, and still we're producing 8,000 plus shirts a day, like with the 2 shifts. So it really comes down to, what does longevity look like? Yeah, right now it feels like the rocks are doing really well. Other than I can't print sleeves right now. I'm gonna get the dual sleeves and try that out, but I can't do sleeves on it. Other than that, it seems like they're doing better. But what does time tell? Because those investments, they're investments. Most of the time you're financing them for 5+ years, or you bought it with a savings of something. It needs to actually last, and then it needs to have its resale. So it really comes down to that, to me. So I can't make an honest opinion yet till like 3 to 5 years, I think. I could tell you there's a lot of rock has impressed me. I can tell you rock has impressed me. Like I was more leaning towards the M&R side when we started this, especially when I went out to like the other rock shops and looked at them. I'm like, oh man, these guys don't print like we print, that wholesale, really grinding type stuff here in Southern California. So it's just, I don't know. Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
So I was I was actually, when Bruce and I used to talk to Rich Hoffman back in the day, before he had retired, and he'd say like, my biggest competition are used M&R presses, right? And I think there is something to be said about people still running 1999 whatever presses, that they do hold up and they have longevity. I think it's really interesting when I've been to, I don't know, 20 trade shows or something, and I was actually with Nick Wood and Rob last night from GraphX. They were in Chicago. And we were talking about how sometimes like people come to these trade shows eager to just buy brand new stinking equipment and just like mortgaging their homes and financing. And really like, I almost think it's better to be teaching shops like how to grow into that press, like how to start with the Anatol or whatever, how to start with a used press. Cause like, I get scared when people come in and are like, yeah, I'm going to buy a $75,000 press. I'm like, what are your sales? And they're like, well, like $400,000. And I'm like, ooh, like, do you get a lot of people hitting you up about like, do you get a lot of shops that are trying to switch from M&R to rock, or are you starting to see people that are like first timers? Like what, who are you trying to educate?
The 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid, when I was 18 or 19 and I bought my first Anatol, I remember like 18, 19. I talked to Dave McLean, and I was on the phone with him, and he was selling an M&R Terminator, from I don't know which shop back then, and then there was like this used Anatol on Craigslist, and I was like trying to debate like which one I should get, the Anatol or the used Terminator. They're both like 20 grand, you know. And I wish I would have probably went with the M&R back then. I did not listen and I did not learn, and then I suffered for it. So I guess my heart is like, I don't feel like there's a lot of people who are rooting for one or the other, and there's not just like an unbiased opinion. And that's, I guess, what I'm trying to do. I haven't really talked to too many shops that are like asking. I've stayed out of the comments. I've been trying to anyways. I probably should jump in there, but I don't know. I'm just trying to give my honest opinion of what I think and what's better. It made sense at the time due to just I needed the new machines. We were moving into the new shop. We wanted the new machines, and you know, Rock can actually get them to me. M&R could not. And it made sense. So when I came in, that's kind of how we got the both machines that are all brand new around the time. It made sense when I can get them. You know, M&R was super backed up. They're still super backed up for stuff. And so that's kind of what we did. And then I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, might as well take an opportunity to share what I think. And that's what we're doing.
And Sam, you guys are primarily contract printers, right?
Yeah, primarily wholesale.
Gotcha.
We're primarily just wholesale contract printers. We're not, you know, we don't do much retail stuff. And that's the thing is I always, when I was purely M&R, I was like, oh yeah, retail printers that, you know, print for high volume, all use Rocks, you know? And so, I mean, the only one I knew of that was more contract is Liquid, but you know, it's tough to get into Liquid.
What about the quality video? What came out of that? Where it's called what machine, and you can see this on his channel too. Which machine produces better quality?
That's the thing; they both produce about the same. It really comes down to your operator more than even the machines. So, like, we wanted to propose all these questions because this is what, when you first start printing, this is what you're asking yourself, right? What's going to give me better quality? What's going to print faster? And all these questions. So we presented these questions when we started these videos, and then we just try to go into it. To be honest, quality on both machines is about the same. There's just little features you may like better or not like better. And that could be depending on the operator and also what inks you're using. But quality and everything that we've seen is the same almost.
Well, you talk about training, because one of the videos is which is easier to use. Is there one that's newer on both ends, to be fair, that you found to be helpful with training? Or I know Rock's partnered with Made Lab to help with that, although M&R has that training facility in their warehouse too.
Training as far as, are you talking about like the interface, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, just press operators, setting up and running, just getting new staff that's able to use it.
One thing that we've been very fortunate in is we train I've trained maybe 2 operators in all the years I've done this. I maybe only trained 2. And it's normally because they were a loader or puller for like 5 years. Wow. Most of the operators here have been operators for a while in our labor market here. But I guess as far as like easy to use and learn it, that they're both about the same. I think I think M&R's like buttons and their interface features are very bold and simple. So most operators get it. I think Rock's buttons are a little bit smaller. We have to go through, and when we're training someone on the Rock, we definitely have to go, hey, here's this feature, and explain it like 3 or 4 times, because it's just a little bit smaller and a little bit more menus than what an M&R has. So yeah, that's kind of what we noticed. So I mean, if you guys want who's better, who's this, I don't have that yet. I plan on, like I said, waiting 3 years then expressing like what I really, really like. As of right now, I'm leaning towards Rock just purely because of how much breakdowns I've had. My 2 Cobras have been broken a couple times, and they've been down, you know, a couple weeks at a time, which is not fun. And I'm always then getting the parts, then paying a local tech to put it in, where Rock, they fly their techs out, and that's been good. But the Rocks haven't broken at all. I think like the lasers on it, and then they overnighted me lasers from Portugal.
Wow.
I got them the next
So
day.
is it safe to say
So
that the speed, reliability, or I should say speed, kind of quality, ease of use is fairly this much the same? You've had just you just had a couple bumps so far with running it.
Yeah, we've had a couple
On the
bumps with
maintenance
M&R on the maintenance side and just things breaking. M&Rs tend to be, if you know anyone that's an M&R shop, every Saturday for as long as I've been in business has been maintenance day for M&Rs. So we're changing an air cylinder or we're changing something like that. That's just very common. So, I mean, so far there's been no maintenance on the rocks, like little maintenance, just basic oiling, things like that. Nothing.
So let's talk about like customer service, right? Parts, maintenance, because I think that's, you know, you can buy something, but if you don't maintain it properly or have the support, and I think, you know, I was in a conversation with a couple people, and there's almost like different philosophies that the two companies have, right? Have you noticed? I mean, it shouldn't take you to make a video to get a rep or tech to come out. Are you noticing that the companies have different stances in the way that they support their customers or that they fly parts out? Like what have those experiences been like, even before you made the videos, maybe after you're probably getting a lot more attention?
So before I made the videos, M&R, I've never really had to get an M&R tech from M&R into my building. Locally here, we have a dozen local techs that are really good, that come out, that are reasonable. And most of my machines were used until this point. I was the guy that always bought used until we got to this size where it made sense to me financially to actually buy new and replace.
So having those was pretty convenient, though. I mean, having people close by like
techs.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of them, and they'll show up in that day. So we would have stuff go out. So awesome, but not everyone has that, right? Not everyone has Southern California local techs that are just around everywhere. So I could tell you what I'm dealing with the new machines is that we bought the M&Rs from, you know, a vendor, right? A distributor of M&R. So when we bought the M&Rs from that vendor, when we needed parts, we contacted that distributor to get our parts. I think that caused a lot of issues with us getting stuff from M&R because I was extremely frustrated, like just over it. I called that company and I was like, take all my flashes out of the building that we bought, all the DXs. I was just over it. I'm like, just give me red chilies. Just so many things. But from what now we're working with M&R on their parts, the way they process their parts directly through their email and their website. And it's definitely better than when we were using the third party. Our response times are better. So it's different. Obviously Rock has their, I don't order any of these parts. My floor manager does, just, you know, but he communicates to me what he likes and what he dislikes. He loves the Rock because it's pretty simple. You put in the ticket and they get back to you within an hour, roughly 2 hours, depending on what time he puts it in. We start at 4 a.m. So if he puts the ticket in at 4 a.m. over here, he might not get response till 6 a.m. or so. So he says he likes that system. So far, M&R, since they flew someone out, they gave us the new way to process our issues, and which is via email, and that's going better. But yeah, we're getting stuff a little bit responded better and faster. I don't know how the inner workings of the companies work or what's their mentality with it.
It's just tricky, like through the distribution, right? Because it is kind of out of their control. And Rock's working with distributors now too, but I don't know. Maybe all the parts come direct from them. I don't know how that part works, but I will say it's funky to have to record the video and then get help. But it sounds like going direct. Obviously, you get a lot better. And I know they keep a lot of that stuff on hand there. Like we've seen the cages and all that stuff, and they ship it out.
Yeah, but I think there's also like this theory that like we say like loyalty is built in resolution, right? Like
ThreadX 2019.
Jay Bear, ThreadX, loyalty is built in resolution, and I will until I'm blue in the face. Like I will tell M&R that like every single time, like how you handle this situation either puts a good taste or a bad taste in someone's mouth, right? And like from Amazon, I ordered a disposal. It got delivered. I got to my house. It wasn't there. I went on Amazon in literally 1 minute. They're like, no problem. We'll ship you a new one. And I just was like, holy cow. Like, I now will go spend and if I look at how much money I spend at Amazon, I'm just like, I'm in love with them, right? And I'm wondering, do companies really, like, do they really focus, like, on resolution? Because, like, speed to resolution, I mean, Bruce, you guys have ticketing systems, and you're always in support. But, like, how important is that to you guys at Printavo? I mean... Over time, you're getting more tickets, more bugs.
I think speed adds so much value. I mean, we try to measure it. They're at about 15 minutes and an average time. Obviously, stuff that's super detailed takes time, but I think that's a good point. I need to print that. I'm going to start sharing that in some of our team meetings. Wait, say the quote again.
It's loyalty is built in resolution. We got to get Jay on the podcast.
Where's Jay? He would charge us like 10 grand.
But isn't that something, Sam, right? Like when you send an email and then someone responds right away and they're like, hey, no problem, we'll take care of this. You're just like, oh, cool. Like, things are going to break.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to break. It's an expectation. We have not had much success with that. I mean, the rocks are so new. Like I said, we've had little to anything break on them. Where the M&Rs we've had stuff break on them. It hasn't been a fun or good experience yet. We'll see what happens. I don't like where, hey, a part broke on your machine. Now I have to take that part off. You're going to ship me a new one. I have to put it back in, the new part, and then ship that part to you. I don't like that. And then I'm paying for the shipping both ways, and I'm paying for the part up front, hoping that, you refund me. Yeah. And that's kind of how it goes with M&R. And to me, that's like, well, your part broke. Mine, if I did something to break it, then I understand. But if your part broke, why am I responsible with one, removing the part, then shipping the part to you, getting your new part, then putting the new part in? To me, that's not something I would do with a client, right? Any of my customers. If we, mess something up, we have to fix it. That's just kind of how it goes.
I mean, I just went through it on DTF, right? Like, I had one DTF. It's an early adopters thing. We know that it's new, but when they like just ghosted you for weeks at a time, or would blame you, for things, or it was just always a struggle to like try new things out. I said, like, I'm giving up on you guys just as much as I'm giving up on the machine. And when we got our new machine, we still have issues, but I talk with their team all the time, and they're channeling back and forth. Hey, try this. Hey, do this. Hey, we're going to ship you this. Hey, no problem, here and there. And sure enough, like,
That's
we're
cool.
ready. We're ready to buy another one, And I think that experience is so important. And I think it's like a lesson learned for shops with customer service too, like speed to answer, speed to resolution. If, someone calls and says, I got a shirt that's ripped, don't fight them. Like, I don't know. Sam, do you guys have the kind of the same policies when you're dealing with your clients?
I mean, so a lot of our clients are purchasing the blanks, right? Mm-hmm. And we're just printing. So it's a little bit, if there's a hole in it, that's not on us. That's on your distributor. We try to catch that before it goes on a press, but that's their distributor. They're going to have to deal with that, which is nice. But if it's a retail client, obviously that would be on us. We should have caught it before it went on press. There's things of that nature, but I have a customer service mentality where it's kind of like, that's why we do photo approvals, is I want you just to be happy you approve it and you write me off of it. Because I don't want, obviously my biggest tiers, and I think every print shop owner, is those jobs that are $10,000, $20,000 plus that we lost. We totally damaged the whole thing. And it's like, how do we never relive those nightmares? And you set up your processes like over and over again to make sure you never have to eat a job like that. Especially in contract printing, because you're only making, $1 a print. And it's like, how do you, reconcile a $10,000 loss when you have to replace those garments? When you're replacing, $13 hoodies, $14 hoodies, like, let alone you only make $1 a print. That's very hard to reconcile. So we do whatever we can to set up our process not to do that. But obviously, when it's your fault, it's your fault. I don't know. I think anytime you open up commerce and you put people to actually better themselves, like this M&R versus Rock thing, to me, the only thing that's going to come out of this is both those companies are going to get better. They're going to have to evaluate stuff and challenge themselves to be better. That's what's cool about having an open market like that. That's free to do that. I mean, anytime my friends who print, it's fun going side by side them to challenge ourselves to get better. It's better having operators that actually have a checks and balance where there's another operator riding their tail or vice versa. It keeps them moving faster. It just works. If there's not a checks and balance in, like, I always look through our system. Like, I'm working with my HR team right now saying, hey, where are we not having accountability or a checks and balance process in our thing, in our work? So everyone needs to be accounted for. Like our counting team, for a while, we were having issues with our counting. As soon as I made everyone exactly document everything they're counting in a day, the counting got way better immediately. So we were doing things of like how many jobs you counted in a day where it wasn't pieces. But when we switched to pieces, all of a sudden it was faster because someone might count, 5 72 piece orders. That's not a lot of units rather than, 2, 5,000 unit orders. So once we started doing that, our counting got better. So I think even with these videos and everything that I'm producing and talking about, it's bringing accountability. Like, hey, M&R, your warranty right now with what's going on, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's good. I think I have staff that knows how to fix stuff on an M&R, but imagine if you're that brand new shop owner and your sensor goes out. You're going to have to pay an M&R tech to fly out there. So to fix it, I have 2 Directus screens, the iMages's, and I want them both to burn. I would do anything to destroy those things. It's been a nightmare, and it could be my staff. I have my screen room. The guy who manages my screen room has been printing for like 33 years. So he's an older gentleman. So it's obviously different using a direct screen rather than film. But for the past like 3 years that I've owned those machines, I have spent, I don't know, I think so far just year to date, it's like over $8,000 fixing them just from January to now, replacing heads for whatever reason. That's been hard working with M&R, but I think that's the digital department. So you can't really like say the press department and the digital department are the same. It's very different. But I could tell you, we have to fly out M&R techs all the time because there's no local person that really knows how to work on those. And that's expensive.
Did you say you had to fly M&R techs or did you mean Rock techs?
M&R techs
for their iMage.
The iMage, the iMages's. We have 2 iMages's, and we just have a lot of headaches with it. I just disclaimer, it could be my staff. I don't want to sit there and just badmouth anything. Could be my staff's a little bit older, so.
Do you think you're gonna do the same kind of like experiments that you're running with like an iMage and a Douthit or a Kiwa or a Spider? Like, are you thinking about kind of taking it a step further and getting 2 new?
Oh man. I would love to do that, but financially that doesn't make sense for me right now.
You need some YouTube ad revenue. People start clicking the ads. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, I need something. I'm interested in the Saudi laser. I've been interested in that a few years, but there's shops that now, production shops that actually finally have it. So I'd rather sit back and wait and see a production shop get it because they're going to tell you the truth. Like they're going to use that thing every day in high volume. So
Screen Room does not lie. The Screen Room does not lie.
I could tell you right now, our iMages have been a nightmare in dealing with like M&R techs and getting them out here to fix. I know Alex at M&R, the digital manager, he really tries, but it's rough. And like I said, it could be my staff not adapting well, but I don't know. But I just imagine the brand new printer, right? Your first press, you don't barely know how to register. And then you have issues like this. It's like, how do you, I don't know. It's really I feel very fortunate all the time just because of the people being here in Southern California. I have staff that have worked for, 30 plus years in the screen printing industry. So it's like, there's a lot of wisdom around me where I feel like if you didn't have a shop like that with staff that are trained, and you're the owner going there trying to train everyone. That's, I don't know. Without that proper support, it seems hard.
Do you have any other videos about to come out or any plans for media ones?
I don't know. We've been talking to the team. So we filmed all those in like November, a while ago. We've been filming like when stuff goes down and things break, we film all that. We try to document it all.
That's cool. Like how to fix it or...
yeah, just what's going on. Just explain like what we're going through. I guess to know the day to day. We recently had like when M&R came out and fixed the flashes to go over what was going on. We filmed that just to be like, okay, hey, was it maintenance? And they were really cool, trying to educate us and help us. But yeah, videos. I would love to know what print shop owners want to know and guys who are starting want to know. Because if they want to know that, because things for me that obviously 10 years ago that were a nuisance or terrified me aren't that way today. So I can't, if you were to ask that question, yeah, I can go into that, but it's not something I think about as a trouble anymore. So it was definitely going into even filming these episodes. It was like, okay, what are we going to talk about? What do people actually want to know? Because a lot of this stuff, if you're running a shop every day, it's just stuff you go through, right?
Well, those will be in your comments and in our comments too. Comment down below if you want what you want Sam to record next. If you want him to buy a Doubt Hit and compare it to an iMage, comment down below.
Oh my god! Hey, if I got a Doubt Hit and an iMage back to back, I would totally do it. I've looked at those machines; they're cool. Doubt Hits, the wax machines. It's just expensive for wax, from what my head was. I would spend on a shop my size. I would spend like $1,400 or $1,500 in wax. I think a month.
Yeah, we have it. We like it. We just love Mark.
Hey Sam, this has been awesome. Again, you guys can watch all the videos down below. Really cool. I think it's a fair take. It's not like you're trying to make jabs at either side. We're friends with both. I just think it's pretty interesting to come at it from this angle of like an unbiased. I actually have both perspective, and if we get this video to what do you think? 200 likes, Sam will buy the Doubt Hit and compare it to the iMage and the Spider.
Why don't we just get a Doubt Hit put on my floor for the keyboard
and the Saudi? No, I appreciate it, Sam. This is Sam from Anchor Prints. You guys can follow him along on Instagram as well. Shouts out to your book too. I saw on Amazon helping to help folks build their business as well. So you can pick that up, watch the videos, click on the AdSense, and I'm gonna actually swing by because you're not too far in Orange, California. So we'll link up.